Hey everyone, I'm going to do a install of DayZ Epoch server version 1.0.6.1, and I've got a pretty extensive list here of instructions for myself. Made mistakes in the past on this video, and just to try and help myself not make mistakes, I made myself a little list here. So first of all, you want to verify that you go into your Steam library, and then go into you want to verify that Arma 2 and Arma 2 Operation Arrowhead do not have the betas selected or anything. It's just have none, opt out of all beta programs selected on both of those. You don't want legacy or anything like that. So once that's done, you're going to make a folder on your desktop or wherever you want to install your DayZ server. Just make a folder. I'm just going to make it here on the desktop. I'm going to call it DayZ servers. You could put it anywhere you want it. If you wanted it on the E drive, if you have extra hard drives or whatever, it doesn't matter where you put this folder. Just make a folder called DayZ servers or DayZ server if you can just have one server. What you need to do here is copy all of your Arma 2 and Arma 2 Operation Arrowhead files into that folder. So I just have my Steam in the program files, x86. So go to wherever you have your Steam folder installed on your machine and go to Steam Apps, Common, Arma 2, and you can do Control A to select all these and then just copy them over. Okay. Alright. Well, once these are done installing or copying over, then you're going to do all of the Arma 2 Operation Arrowhead files. And I've already downloaded the DayZ Epoch client files, so that takes a while. If you download it, you would get it from epochmod.com or DayZ Launcher. But I need all of these files from Arma 2 Operation Arrowhead, including a copy of the DayZ Epoch client files in this folder. So I did a Control A, right click and drag, drop it on there and hit copy here. And we need to download the server files, so go to epochmod.com, go to downloads and go to DayZ Epoch. And here's the server files. Here's where you get the client files, by the way. But I need the server files. So I'm download those. And when it asks you to do this replace stuff, just hit yes. Downloads. There's your Epoch zip file. Server files are in a 7Z file. So have 7-zip installed on your machine, or I guess WinRAR would work too, but you can extract to this folder here. Right, and you're going to open that up. All of these files need to go in this folder as well, so Control A to select all, right click, drag, drop, copy here, and hit replace when it says that. So you have all the files in here that you need now. Epoch client, all the server files, and all the files from Arma 2 and Arma 2 Operation Arrowhead. Let me scroll down on my list here and make sure I'm not missing anything. Yeah, got the server files, merged them. Now you need to install Xampp and SQL. I have a list of links here that I'm going to put in the description. And yeah, PBO Manager, you should have that. You should have the Xampp server, the SQL, Notepad++ with the syntax highlighter if you want it. That's optional. That's off Armaholic. And you need to have these redistributables, these links. You need to verify that. Let me go in here. Programs and features. Okay, so 7-zip is installed there. You need to have these Visual C++ redistributables for, you need the x86 versions, 2015, 2013, and this one was installed when I installed Arma 2, so you need the 2008 version as well. These 64 versions, I think when I installed this Windows 10, it installed this stuff for me. The only one that wasn't there was that one. If you don't have those installed, you will get DLL errors. If you need to have the correct version of DirectX installed, which is 9.0C, I believe. If you install Arma 2, an Arma 2 Operation Arrowhead on the machine that you're going to install the servers on, it will do that for you. Otherwise, you go to Microsoft and get their legacy DirectX installer. Okay, so let's install Xampp. I'm just going to click on this link here. And it's just soundforge.net. You could search, you could just Google it, but you just hit download here. Okay, so save file. And I also need Heidi SQL. And I'm just gonna download this installer. Okay, that's done. That's done. This other stuff, just download it and install it. PBO Manager, Notepad++, and these. So let me minute. This stuff down here is for Overclock. So let's install Xampp. Let's go to Downloads. Double click on Xampp. Yeah, antivirus warning. Okay, continue. This is this activated user account control. Look at this error, this warning anyway, and this user account control. What do you got to do? Disable it. Then you can't. If you don't have it, what does this say? Missing write permissions or deactivated. You have to deactivate this UAC in order to run it as a service. I'll show you that in a minute here, but I'm not going to run it as a service, so I'm not worried about that. I'm just going to install this shit by default. Yep, default directory. And it brings up this advertisement window. Just close that. And then hit next here. And it will install it. You can do the same with Heidi SQL. Next, accept. Yep, defaults. You can put it wherever you want, but I'm just going to go with defaults. Create desktop icon, yes. Associate SQL files, yes. These two, no. These are automatically checked for like client versions and stuff. Just install it. Okay, I don't want to launch it. I'm going to finish. Okay, I don't want to launch that either. I can delete these. I can delete this. Okay. If you wanted to use a alternate map, I'll show you how to use that too, but I'm just going to use Shannara's here. I'm going to pin this Heidi SQL thing to the taskbar. And let's go into Xampp. So go to your File Explorer, go to wherever you installed it. Mine just installed to Xampp folder in C. And you want to grab this Xampp control.exe and pin that to the taskbar as well. That's your console. So let's open the console. Just click there, select your language. And this is the console. First thing I do in here is I go click on this config button, and I have it. These are auto starts. When I open the control panel, I want MySQL to start automatically. If you're using my PHP admin, then you would do the Apache server, but I'm not going to use that. So I'm going to just check that and hit save. And then let me quit this. Don't hit this, because it will still be down here. Alright, so you want to hit quit, and then it will disappear. So let me click on it again, and you see the MySQL server starts automatically now when I open the console or the control panel. If you like to use my PHP admin, you can start this Apache web server and then click on admin button down here in the MySQL, and there's your PHP myadmin. You're logged in as root, the root super user account with no password. I'm going to password protect my root account. So I'm going to go ahead and stop that. I don't use that my PHP admin, but that's how you do it. You start that, you click on that, it brings it up. If you do it remotely, there's some extra steps, but I don't use it. That services thing, if you had the option, if that UAC was disabled, you'd click here to put a red X in here, and then you could go into services. This is just Windows services, and Xampp would be in here, and you could configure it to start manually or automatically. That would just make the control panel start when you start the machine, and it would restart the same. I'm going to go in here to config and go to my.ini. Yeah. And I want to put something in here to start the scheduler automatically. Under this MySQLD header, I'm going to put event underscore scheduler space equals on space in between. I don't think you have to have the spaces. They have spaces here, so I'm going to put spaces, and I'm going to save that file. What that will do is start the event scheduler automatically so that your database events run. So stop the server and then restart it. Okay? And I think that's all I wanted to do in there. Yeah. PHP myadmin. Database backup utilities, that's beyond the scope of an install video. If you want to look into database backups, I know in here there's this tools folder, and there's a database backup batch file, a sample, and it's got all this shit in here. So you could actually use Windows Scheduler. I think it's got MySQL dump, and I guess it housekeeping that must delete, deletes old ones. So you could use this, I guess. Just have set hour time. Oh, that's to name the file, I guess. Yeah, so you could use that. You can look in, just. I'm not going to set that up for an install video, but it's in there. And I don't know what this rotate logs is. What the hell is this? Log rotator. I don't know. You can. Okay. Yeah, it's whatever. I'm not going to set that up or use that. This is just a basic install video, so you can look into that stuff if you want. Again, I already showed the PBO manager link and Notepad, and that's done. DirectX. Okay, so let's go into config examples. This is where you're going to choose what map you want. So I'm just going to do Shinaris, but if you wanted to do, let me show you this. Let me minimize that. If you go into DayZ servers and go into Epoch client files, you'll see that there's NAP, yeah, and Sourland right there. Those are built into Epoch, so you don't have to download any additional mod for those. The maps are just built into Epoch. And of course, with Arma 2, these are the add-ons for Arma 2. You have Shinaris, which is right there. So if you're doing Shinaris, NAP, or Sourland, you don't have to, do an external map download. But like say if you're doing Lingor, let's look at the batch file. You see that you have to add this Lingor up here. You have to download the Lingor map, from Armaholic, or you can get it from DayZ Launcher. If you're in DayZ Launcher, make sure that in your settings that your mods path is pointing to your Arma 2 Operation Arrowhead folder, because you want the mods to download there. And this should be looking there for the mods. But if you go into this mods tab here, you'll see all these different things. But there's Lingor 1.5. This DayZ Lingor 1.3. The reason it says DayZ is because at one point early on, somebody made a DayZ vanilla Lingor, and the files are still in there in the download. They're old vanilla files that not useful anymore, but they're in there. That's why it says DayZ there. But most people would be using that. So you download this, and you'd put a copy on the server side and the client side, and then you'd load it here in the server side with that. But make sure that the folder is named the right way. You can change the name of the folder. It doesn't have to, it's not set in stone. You can actually call it whatever you want, but just call it, Lingor, and make sure that there's a copy on there. Just like there's a copy of NAP and Sourland in Epoch, and then Arma 2 has Shinaris. You just have to add a new map. So I'm going to do Shinaris, because that's the most popular instance 11 Shinaris. You're just going to click on this folder, come down here and find the matching batch file, hold the control key down and click on it, and then you're going to right click and copy. That will copy both of them. Come back out here to the main directory, and you're going to paste them. So now you have your batch file and that. So the batch file you don't have to do anything with. Everything is already set up correctly. If you're doing a LAN server like I'm doing here, you need this port to be 2302. It can't be anything else. The game only recognizes 2302 as a LAN server. Some of these other ones have, some of the other maps have different port numbers, which is fine if you're doing a dedicated box or something other than a LAN server, but just be aware of that. Let's go ahead and go into this instance 11 Shinaris, this config.cfg file. Let's edit that. This is fine. This is just what shows up. You can change this whatever you want. I wouldn't change this stuff, but you can change the name of it. Password, if you want a password, have players have to present a password when they log into your server. That's where you'd set that. This admin password, I would change that if you're doing a public server. Otherwise, people would be able to log in as admin and mess around on your server. But test server, I'm just going to leave it. This is all this stuff is already correct. So let's just go to one thing. The difficulty says veteran here, and those are defined in here, this users folder. Just open this file right here, and you can see it says recruit regular, veteran, which is the default, and then mercenary, which is the hardest. So just change the name. This one doesn't even have no third person, so just change the name to whatever you want. Veteran is the default. Hive.ext.ini. This is where your database stuff is. Yeah, so let's go ahead and open up. This is already running. So let's go into HideSQL. I already had this installed one time, so let's get rid of that. This is what you'll see when you first open HideSQL. And what you're going to do is hit new session name, and you'll get unnamed. I just called it DayZ. And you log in initially as root with no password, and all this stuff is the same. You don't have to change anything else. If you remote administrating a server, then obviously you would put in an IP address there. And prompt for credentials just means it's going to ask you for a username and password when you log in, which is, I think it does that anyway, but whatever. So I'm going to log into this now. Root, no password, just hit open, and there you're logged in as root with no password. So you'll look here and you'll see database equals DayZ Epoch. This is your database name. I'm going to create a database. I'm going to right click here on DayZ and create new database. And you can call this whatever you want. Since I might have multiple maps, I'm just going to call this Shinar. Let me spell it right. Shinaris. Yeah, underscore epoch. 1060. Come on, 1061. So, yeah, epoch version and Shinaris map. So, I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to paste it in here. So now I have a blank or a empty database. You can see here. So this name has to match this name, otherwise it won't work. So make sure you do that. Remember I said we were logged into root with no password. Here is where you're going to click to change your root password. And we were logged in as root localhost. There's an account here. This one doesn't have any privileges. I don't know why this is even there. It's just an empty. There's no privileges. This account can't do anything. This PHP MyAdmin account has what is this? This is update, insert, delete, execute. Insert and update are basically the two privileges you need to for this user account over here. Execute, select, drop, event. I think you need event to run the events on the server. Update, yeah, you did. Okay, so I guess you could clone that account and then call it that. I'm gonna password protect this. I don't know why there's all of these other ones. There's one here that logs in as 127.0.0.1. I think you can just delete these. This one and this one. I don't know why these are here. Localhost is if you're on the machine itself, because the database is on the machine that I'm working on, so that's localhost. This I guess you could set up with a different IP. I don't know. You guys can figure that out for yourselves. I'm just gonna, when you log into this thing, you log in from localhost, and I'm gonna password protect it. So, okay, so you have to have a minimum of 6 characters, right? So I'm gonna make a 6-character password, and you can use one of these auto-generated ones that hide SQL. I mean, they could have 30-character passwords. You know, choose your own sophistication there. Make your own password, or select one of these drop downs. And I'm just going to save that. So now my root account has a password. I don't know about these other ones. I'm not going to worry about them for this install video, though. I mean, you can figure that out yourself. If you want to do remote login with phpMyAdmin, that's just for the phpMyAdmin database. That's not for this database. So I guess you could just go in there and, you know, fiddle around with it. I'm not worried about it. I am going to create this account, though. I don't want the game. So you could, like in the past, I've done this where, you know, I've gone root with no password just for test servers, right? You can do that, but if you're running a public server, then you don't want to do that. You want to, you know, make your own password here. I'm just going to leave it as 1 2 3 4 5 6. I'm going to create an account here. I'm going to go add, and it says unnamed. I'm just going to call this DayZ, and then password 1 2 3 4 5 6. 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, good. And then this account by default doesn't have any privileges, and I'm going to give it privileges on this database only. So I'm going to add object, and I'm going to add this database. And I think you need execute. Wait. Execute, select. I guess these green ones, you know, it shows you how severe they are. These are super user stuff. You need update. I think you might need trigger, insert, event. I don't think you need delete or create view. Create temporary tables? I don't think so. Alter routines? No. I'm not really all too sure about a lot of these privileges here, but I'm going to put these ones that I have in here. My update, trigger, insert, event, and then these 3 green ones, which are just low level. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and save that. You see, so it doesn't have any global privileges, so it can't really wreak any havoc, and I've got very limited things you could do with that. So let's just see if this works. I'm pretty sure it does work. Let's go ahead. I created that account, so let's close it. And the root account usually does this stuff, but I can log out and log back. Log in with this DayZ account, and 1 2 3 4 5 6. Yeah, okay. So I don't think I can run any of this stuff, but so that's done. You got your database name, you got your username and a password, and a limited access for that username. So save that, or limited privileges, I should say. And we're going to go out to this SQL folder, and we're going to run this query. I don't think I will be able to run this with this account. Let's see. Yeah, see, I can't create. You can't create a table. Okay, so that's good. I don't want to have it. I don't want it to do that. So let's go ahead and log out and log back in as root, and yeah. So let me, okay, you'll see a little green check mark here on the one that you're selected. We want to be selected on the database. And let's try to run this now. So super user root account can do anything. It can run this query. Yeah. So those 3 warnings are nothing. It's just, you know, you have this drop table if table exists. Well, it never existed, so it's just giving you a warning that it didn't exist. It's kind of dumb. So let's run this one. So yeah, okay, same thing. We ran this one and this one. You don't need these 2 unless you're updating from 1051. So if you're doing that, then yeah, you need to run those 2. But fresh install, everything is in there, and these are just database maintenance stuff. Okay, so what I did here was I refreshed the database by clicking this here, and then I'm going to expand that, and you can see all of this is populated now. All these tables, and there's well, these are events. It's got a calendar on it, and then these are one of these functions. Yeah, create function. Yeah, that's a function, that's an event. Okay, so we're done there actually. Let's log out of this. Let's log back in with DayZ again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. And so with this account, I shouldn't be able to if I hit this drop, that means delete this database. And see, it won't allow me to do that. I don't think I can empty tables. No. Drop table. No, I can't do any of that shit, so that's good. I don't want to alter anything in here. I don't think I can create a new table. Can I? Yeah, create new table. I'm going to call it Steve. My table is called Steve. Add that and then save it. Okay, I can't create a table either. That's good. I don't want it to do any of that crap. Discard. Close this. And let's back up here. So our database is created. Oh, one last thing. I didn't do this, but I want to check and see if that scheduler is running. So you're going to go all uppercase, select, space, and then you're going to hit at, and then lowercase event underscore scheduler, and then you're going to run that query with this execute. And you can see our scheduler is on now. Automatically it starts when we start the database. That's good. Then these events can run. So let's close that. That's good. But again, those privileges, we'll see if those work, because when you connect to the database, when you open the game up, it'll have all this green stuff, and then if you see something red, that means could not do it. Video, okay. Yeah, limited access. Okay, got that. Got that. Yep, did that. Did that. Missions PBR. Okay, so let's see. I think we're getting pretty close to done here. So when you pulled over the MP missions folder, it has all of these missions in it, but you don't have to have these in here. You could leave them if you wanted to. We're just going to create this one into a PBO, but I'm going to select all, hit Control on the keyboard, click on Shinaris, and just delete the rest of these because I don't need them, and I don't want them in there because it's just clutter. I'm just running this Shinaris map, so I don't have to change anything in here. I'm just going to turn this into a PBO. So after you have PBO Manager installed, you'll see this right-click option for PBO Manager. And you're just going to pack it into the Chernarus PBO. Delete that. And yeah, everything else should be configured. I want to make a shortcut on my desktop for my batch file. Yep. Okay, that's good. Yeah, I think after that I just, it's ready to log in. Okay, so let's start the server up. Yeah, I have my client running down here. If you're on the same machine, I think you have to have your client running, then you start the server. Okay, so this is the console. What we're going to look for here is that there should be a bunch of green stuff. I don't have, I can't really show this on a second monitor, so I'm going to have to, if you're going to log in like I'm doing here, you need to have this DayZ Epoch 1.0.61 enabled, and I put it right here, right below these two. So just have it enabled. And then you're going to click multiplayer, and there's our server right there. You notice it says network games on LAN port 2302. So remember, if you're doing a LAN server, 2302 is your port number. See, it says address LAN here. These are the servers that would show up on like DayZ Commander. Or I mean DayZ Launcher. But if you had your proper mods installed, you could log on to these. I'm not sure if it lists every mod. I don't think it does. Oh, here's expansions. Well, this one just says here DayZ Epoch 1061. Let's see if here's an Overpoch one. Yeah, this, okay, it does list the mods here. So if you want to log on to this server right here, you need DayZ Overwatch, DayZ Epoch. Don't worry about the server, but you do need Overwatch and Epoch. Where's one that's like, there's Lingor. So there it says Lingor Island. So you would need Lingor. Anyway, let's go back to LAN. Let's log into our server. Okay, so this is the lobby. Click OK. Okay, character selection. Okay, I'm logged in. Let me check that database real quick. Okay, so it's all green here. Was there any red? I don't see any red up there. It looks like it's doing its thing. It has enough privileges to run. If I hadn't given that account enough privileges, it would show red in here, like could not execute because no privilege. Okay. So what it's doing here is it's spawning in all kinds of vehicles and shit. And the or these hit points, and yeah, there's a jet ski, so it's just spawning shit in. That's the console. You do get logs, and I'll show you logs in a minute here. That's all you do to install a DayZ Epoch server. I can do it really quickly, but having to explain it takes a lot longer. So this server should be good with no errors, and you should be able, ready to start adding scripts and stuff. And I'm going to show you how to upgrade it to Overclock. You know, add the Overwatch stuff in there. But yeah, let's take a look. Let me go ahead and log out, and we'll take a look at the RPTs. I'll show you that. I'm not sure if there's anything else I need to tell you. I'm trying to think here. There it shows me disconnected. So I'm going to shut the server down. I'm going to go into my DayZ servers folder. In this instance 11 Shinaris folder, you will see this file that's generated called RPT on the end. That's a report file. That is your kind of server log. So there it shows right there where we logged in with our parameters. And then it starts streaming all this data. Updating classes. Yeah, no errors there. No errors. It's writing all this data for the vehicles. Tons of it, because it spawns in like up to 300 vehicles. Yeah, that's initial login. It looks like that every time. Yeah, so there was no errors. So that's good. Since you've shut the server off, what you can do with this actually is to select all this by Control A and then delete it and then save it. So now you have a blank RPT. And so the next time you log in, it will just populate this again with fresh stuff. Useful when you're upgrading and putting in new scripts and shit like that. The rest of this is, you know, there's a server log. Tells you what happened on the server. This is the stuff kind of was in the game console. Game started, mission read. Hive. Let's see, what's this one? And this is what was showing that streaming data connected to my. Yeah, see, there was no red, so I think I got those permissions correct on that account. You just want to strip it of super user and, you know, the ability to delete tables and shit like that. Let's look at the client side RPT real quick. So File Explorer, go to C and then Users, and you notice that this is light. This is not dark like this. This is a hidden folder, so you will have to go into your folder options, like you can, you know, you do in Windows 10. You just do it here. Folder, wait, yeah, folder options. All right, and it's right there. You go to View, and then you have to show hidden files and folders, and then I always take hide extensions off. That way you can see these hidden folders, because you go into app data, right? Your username, app data, and then go to local, Arma 2 OA. And here is your RPT. This right here is where your mission file is. I was logged into an Overclock server, so it shows that. But this is the RPT on the client side. So you'll scroll down. I always go to the bottom and work my way up. You know, anti-teleport, and you know, this is just, you know. So there's no errors in here either. So this is a perfectly good. Let's see, there's where we logged in. These are from prior logins. Perfectly good Arma 2 Epoch server. I don't think there's anything. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I got to tell you, but I don't think so. Everything is good. This is ready to be scripted. So I'm going to leave the video right there, and I'll see you guys next time.